What's going on, everyone? This is Elias, and I'm here with my, I guess, just one of half my crew today.
Yep, we're missing half.
Yeah.
Hey, Reese, we miss you.
Yeah, we miss you.
Please
Ivy.
come back.
Welcome to the No Sabo podcast. We got a lot of big things to talk about today. John was actually updating me on what was going on in Mexico and Venezuela, right?
Yeah, so I don't know all the details, like specifics, so we have some things pulled up. But yeah, I wanted to talk about, I think the biggest one that I just saw was like last night, the Venezuela thing going on and how the U.S. is moving their military towards Venezuela. The reasonings, so this is where sometimes I hate looking at reels on TikTok because they don't really give you like good information. They just give you points and then do cool illustrations. But there's a huge clip saying like that the President Maduro was doing a speech and it's like, we want peace, no war, peace, and he kept going. And in his English, which I was like, I didn't know if it was AI made or if it was real, but looking at it, it says, us, the U.S. military, is putting pressure and diplomatic signaling. Let's see. So we haven't ruled out the military action against Venezuela. For example, so this is one of those biggest things that I've seen. We're moving our U.S. aircraft deployed towards the Caribbean near Venezuela, and so I was seeing a lot of videos kind of matching. If we were to go to war with Venezuela, how much actual military they have compared to we have, and I think we're I think we're the biggest military force in the country. In the world.
I think, or at least we spend the most. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were talking about how compared to like planes and tanks and manpower, like even one of our National Guard could outnumber Venezuela's military. So we're talking about, this is Maduro's a new 6-year term. So this is his third.
Yeah.
So you're talking about this guy's going to be in power for 18 years or once it's done. So it kind of the few things that it kind of brings up. I kind of want to dumb it down. But I found that very interesting because personally, I think, let's see. So basically what we're doing is we wanted to combat the drug trafficking, the narcotics route. They actually did release a press this morning talking about how our Gulf in the waters, we have reduced 85% of all drug trafficking coming in. And so that's like huge. Like, so our waterways are kind of impenetrable. And he was talking about how he wants to do, and he doesn't rule the fact of doing the same thing to the border, like the actual land border. So I think this is huge. And I don't know if this is what he's going off of. He does want to support the human rights and democracy and rule of the law. And then we want to do the undercutting the regimen revenue, weakening the regimen's hold. So I think that's one of the huge parts there, that the regimen kind of controls Venezuela. And the crazy thing is that I actually have a friend that I worked with a few years back, and he was from Venezuela, and he was just talking about how it was such a hard thing to buy necessities, even if you had the money. He said that having money there was pretty useless because it was not that you couldn't afford it. It was just you couldn't get it. He's like, even down to the same necessities like toilet paper or like food. He's like, a lot of people are struggling just because they can't get it, not because they can't afford it. So like, that's why the reason he came over was he was tired of just suffering that way, just not being able to like get your necessities. And I think we kind of saw that in COVID when like, man, like there was just nothing on the shelves at times. And so you're like, you have the money, but you can't even access the product. So I think that's huge. And then this doesn't really give me a good answer. This is what I don't like. But yeah, basically that's what I want to bring up. I don't know what are your thoughts on something like this? Us going towards a country like the size of Venezuela, which are, I think, allies with China and Russia. I'll have to double check that, but that's what I was reading yesterday. What are your kind of thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I was just catching up and reading a little bit as you were kind of telling me about it earlier, and I mean, it sounds like that's so they designated narcos, terrorists, which allows the U.S. to kind of expand their reach, which allows them to go into ports in that area. I was reading that's the most military that we've had around Venezuela since like 1989, which is, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel old because I was born before then. But yeah, no, man, it's interesting. I think the dynamics of it now, is the thought process behind it. Let's get these drugs out of here. Let's stop them from coming this way to begin with. It's interesting. The land border thing is also interesting because obviously you have the cartels as well and from Mexico. So it's, I think the U.S. is trying to flex their military power right now. And it's just interesting now. I don't know do I like the idea of more war, more casualties. I don't think anybody loves that, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the response is going to be from the Venezuela side, over the next little while. Because it was just yesterday or today that they're starting to really.
I started seeing the clips yesterday. Do you think? So this morning, the press release that I saw this morning, I don't know if it was from this morning, from yesterday, but he talked about the same thing, how our waterways are secure from drug trafficking, and he said that every time we take out a boat of narcotics, we save 25,000 Americans. But they didn't specify in what way. But what I understand is probably like the effects that it might have on one person, and it branches off to their family.
Yeah.
Like the suffering and if they lost. And so, that's just crazy to think that we can secure our waterways. And he said 85%. I don't know if that means we take out of every 10 boats that come in, 8 and then half of one don't make it through. But if you go based off those numbers that he was giving off of that press release, I wonder why it's stopping us from doing it on the border.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be a lot easier maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard to believe some things because like the type of technology we have, like there, you can go and buy a lidar drone from DJI right now.
Yeah.
Like you can go physically buy it, and they use it for search and rescue and to scan things. So you think like if we have, I'm not gonna say unlimited funding for our military, but like if our borders are one of our biggest concerns, like how do we not know exactly what's going on the whole border?
Yeah.
Like I know it's probably more logistics than that, but like if we like even to the consumer, you can buy a lidar drone that's made for scanning. Just imagine how much more technology they have that not necessarily needs manpower on the border.
Yeah.
But like if we can do it in the waterway, why can't we do it on the border? And then the other half of me thinks is like, I wonder if they don't completely stop it just because a lot of that money just refuels our economy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So on the Venezuela thing, I could see like what you're saying is like we're just trying to show a military presence, but do you think they're trying to cut off a supply chain at some point? And they're like, maybe we can't get into Mexico right now, but like if we can start from the bottom and work our way up, do you think that could be a possibility?
That's an interesting take. I mean, do you think a lot of the drugs in Mexico come from Venezuela?
I wouldn't necessarily say so, but I mean, I wonder if there's like, so here's another part of that. Venezuela is very rich in crude oil and energy. So I wonder if this is another situation like when we went to the Middle East,
Yeah.
We say we're going in for some reason, but then we're actually benefiting with other things.
Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to think like if we do this to them, which are a smaller country, what is stopping us to doing it from other countries, and then other countries picking up and like, no, these guys are just picking at them. Like we're the bigger bully and we're just going off for the smaller people.
Yeah.
And we know we go for the smaller people because no other country's going to come at us.
Yeah. Makes you wonder what the outside perspective is. I mean, you look at Russia and Ukraine, you look at China and Taiwan, like, how it's being spun outside of the U.S. Like, do people agree with what the U.S. is doing? And I think you kind of nailed it. Like, this is what we're saying and why we're doing it, but I don't know if the majority of people are this way, but some people don't trust the government at face value. It's like, what's the real reason that we're going here? And I mean, crude oil, that's it's been done before, right? Like, why are we always going after these locations that are rich in those kind of resources, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting, man. It's one of those things where you just kind of sit and watch, and you just kind of wonder what's going on there. What is it that you were talking about in Mexico too? Like,
So in Mexico, I don't think this is like, so there was this, his name is Carlos Manzo, and let me just pull up a little bit more about him. But this is in Michoacan, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it on the news because it's been going on for weeks now. But right now, on November 15th, they did a lot of peaceful protests in a lot of parts of the city of Mexico. Basically, I feel like I understand, they called it a Gen Z protest, but there was a lot of reports that I saw, like actual people in the protest. You saw the people that were older, people that brought their kids. There's a lot of clashing going on in these, but I'm going to give you a little bit of details of Carlos Manso so you can kind of understand where my point's coming from. But he was the, I want to say the translation is the mayor of Uruapan, Michoacan, which is at one point was one of the most dangerous places in Mexico, just because of the cartels. But he was, I'm just trying to find the part where it states, I know a little bit about him just because I would watch this YouTuber in Mexico that he had a series that they would go at night and patrol the streets and just always, he was let's just say the mayor, but he was always involved in the community. People loved him. He would go and patrol with the police at night, just trying to help out and reduce the crime in the town. And he was very, very vocal about it. I don't want to compare him to like I don't want to compare him to like a Charlie Kirk, but his voice and power like brought a lot of people together, you know?
Yeah.
And so he used it as a good, and he just was blatantly, multiple occasions he would say, he's like, if I wake up dead tomorrow, it's because they came after me.
Yeah.
And he just talked about, he begged for the help of the government to help him control the organized crime in his town. And so it says right here, so this just happened. He was assassinated November 1st while he was doing the Day of the Dead festival. And he was just shot multiple times in front of a crowd and family. And they say it was fired 7 times, 3 bullets hit Manso. And then, so the shooter was allegedly identified as a 17-year-old nearby, from a nearby municipality. And then that's when literally, like, the town, like, it sparked the protesting, and started in Uruapan, and it kind of spread through Michoacan, and it just became a massive public anger to everybody because literally his whole thing was begging for help from the government, and he got killed before he could even get help. And so that, I feel like that is what started something like I'm not gonna call it a movement, but like just a cry from the whole country being like,
Yeah.
this guy was trying to do the right thing and you silenced him, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of things he did was, okay, so he wasn't, the translation is a mayor, but he did declare, some of the things he did declare zero tolerance for the cartel, but instead he was assassinated. Politically, he raised questions for federal versus municipal responsibility, use of force, strategy in combating cartels, especially in the Manso criticized the federal strategy. A lot of people that, been to Mexico and understand Mexico, like, it's very, very corrupt from the bottom of the chain and police force to all the way up to the federals. Like, it's sad because you can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
In that sense. And I feel it's sad because I feel it's a norm, You're like, oh, like, this guy's just going to want money from me. Now I got to tip him off so he can let me go, even though probably the infraction was nothing. But just the fear that like it's sad that that's the norm. And so yeah, a lot of the stuff like I said, I followed a lot of his stuff just because like you could see that he was trying. It wasn't just a facade.
Yeah.
And he did mention it, like I mentioned before, that if he got killed, it was because they were trying to silence him. But yeah, like I think, and then man, there's videos of them trying to storm the Capitol in Michoacan, and just like basically just people are pissed. And then
Yeah.
on November 15th is when they started doing the protest. And I don't know. I feel like this has been going on in Mexico a lot. I don't know what you think, but it's just one of those things that a new president comes in, they promise peace and everything, and shit just keeps going the same.
Yeah.
Like it's been a non-changing thing over and over and over and over. Like a lot of times I think it was like, why do people come over if Mexico's such a great country? But you think about it, there's not really a lot of work in Mexico. Like if there was work and there was like the economy was strong, I doubt a lot of people would be leaving. And if the crime was down, obviously. But I don't understand why any of these new presidents that have come in go to like the Amazons, the Metas, and be like, we can have warehouses for you and we'll keep them safe for you so we can create jobs. Like I think the GDP is super low in Mexico. It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
But like things like that is you can't even offer jobs in your country. Like, and so I feel like a lot of that is just like it's just like a chain of events. Like you don't have jobs, you have crime. People don't want to be there. They're gonna flee, and now all you do is have a corrupt system because the good people are getting either silenced or they're moving away.
Yeah.
Because they're sick and tired of it. And I feel like everything has been like listening to their president. I'm very like, wow, like this lady is so oblivious to what's going on.
Yeah.
And she wants to like, a lot of these protests on November 15 got violent. Like you could literally see the protesters getting pissed and grabbing police officers with their shields and like ripping them out of the crowd and beating them down to the ground until they couldn't move anymore. And her thing is like, you can protest, but in peace. But these police officers should be the ones protecting these people, and they're the corrupt ones. So you're like,
Yeah.
how can you even say you're going to protest in peace if the people that are supposed to be there to protect you are corrupt? And it goes all the way up to the government, right? And so that's like, I feel like that's my standpoint. I think it's like messed up because it's like a non-stopping of like fuck ups. I feel,
Yeah.
and like I mentioned, I don't want to compare him to Charlie Kirk, but this guy had his voice had a lot of power and to try to change things, and he just, same thing. He got silenced, you know.
It's crazy to think, and maybe this is silly to compare, but you talk about corrupt police, just corruption.
Mm-hmm.
You find that anywhere, right? Like you're seeing that here. You talk about Charlie Kirk. Somebody wanted to silence him for his opinions,
Right.
And the question is, was it a 17-year-old, or how old was that Tyler Robinson kid? He was a young guy, Is that just the scapegoat, or does it go deeper than that?
Yeah.
Like, was there more people involved? And you start getting into those things, and it's, like I was reading that there was like 70, 80,000 people at the protest in Michoacan. Like that's a lot of people, but it does seem and feel like there's a lot of unrest, I think, everywhere. Like things aren't great for everyone, and I think the world is shifting. Mentalities are shifting, and people are starting to, and that's one thing I was actually gonna, want to talk about a little bit later on the political side, was like just the rift that's happening on the Republican conservative side. Like there's, even our politics here are in shambles. I think both parties today are in shambles, but to see mayor get shot down that's trying to clean things up, and you're starting to see the people were supportive of that. Eventually pressure can cause a lot of things, and the pressure has to come from, the people.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a turning point, or is this just another, in 30, 45 days, will we be talking about something totally different,
Yeah. I think that's the sad part, because as history repeats itself, I feel like it's one of those things that people get riled up, and then the next thing, nothing else happens.
Yeah. No, the biggest fear that I think most governments, people that are in control have is another revolution, is another different thought process. And the revolution doesn't have to be a Boston Tea Party like in 1776, like we had here in the U.S. But I mean, the thought process of, and who are going to be the leaders in the thought process, and are those leaders being taken out? Is that a sign, right? Like, it's not just let's just silence this guy, but by doing this, who else are we going to silence?
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of how people respond. So he got gunned down in front of his family and everything.
Yeah, he got gunned down in a public event. Like,
Yeah.
it was a festival for the Day of the Dead. So, like, that's just crazy. I mean, it was a 17-year-old, but you never know. Like, it's a lot of these kids are part of the cartel too. Like, 17 years is not young for someone entering. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of sad because it does say like that Gen Z protest that they called it, which again, there's a lot of reports of like not just Gen Z people, just like everybody's sick and tired of it. I show up to the one, and there was a bunch of all over Mexico, but the biggest one was in Mexico City at the Zócalo, which is like the capital.
Yeah.
And so it says that it was sparked because of the assassination. And the people just voiced their anger of ongoing violence, especially the cartel-related corruption, impunity, and the false government responses, which I think is huge. I think the government is, especially in the how do you say it? The president before, his thing was hugs, not bullets.
Yeah.
Like, brother, you're going, like, you basically have terrorists in your country, and your response is, let's hug this out. So I feel like people loved the previous president, and I think this president that came in, Shambo or whatever her name is she was supposed to be the predecessor to AMLO, and I feel like she's worrying about the wrong things. Like, she banned narco corridos in Mexico. The fuck, like you're gonna ban the music, but you won't ban drugs, or you won't ban something like. Like, it's crazy to me that's what's on the agenda. There's a scene in Yellowstone where John Dutton gets elected governor of Montana, and he sits down and he walks by his cabinet of people that help him write policies, and they're talking about the sage grouse and how they're giving solar leases, and he's like, what do you think is going to happen to the sage grouse? And he's like, well, there's no reports about that. There's studies on. He's like, well, you wipe out the sage grouse to put solar panels, and just like the incompetence of thinking, like, bro, those two correlate. I feel like kind of relates to the same thing here. Like, the fuck are you worrying about banning narco corridos, but your main focus should be banning the cartels?
Yeah.
And so, like, that just like blows my mind. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, at what point does it have to get? Because I doubt they're gonna assassinate the president, because the government's probably on the side of the cartels. So like, I just wonder how deeply rooted the corruption is there. So it's kind of sad. It's sad because, like, I mean, I'm like, we're from there, but like, there's more to that. Like, you're talking about our border down south and how different lives are.
Yeah.
Just because there's a border separating us, and like you said, there's still corruption here, but like, man, I feel like there's still accountability.
Yeah.
At a certain point, obviously, but
I think cartels are easily, you talk corruption and people say cartels run it, and they're easily villainized. I think the U.S., they've done a good job of putting their villains in suits, the intelligence agencies, like all these kind of things working in the shadows that we might not know about, that completely. I think there's a lot of propaganda here in the U.S. that we really weren't aware of until you started to kind of see. To me, a turning point was X and Elon.
yeah,
And now you're starting to see things come out that's just like, okay, what the hell,
Yeah.
So I think our cartels work for the government, where in Mexico that hasn't happened yet. I mean, they might, but it's not an official branch of the government, where with us, we have.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
There's a story that I just literally heard over the last week, and then there's a documentary on it, but in a nutshell, there's this young guy that played at a college for football, and he started doing an online gambling, and he had a client that would gamble, and he would pay him out. And so this guy from Mexico just kept paying more and winning, and then whenever, or losing, but they would pay him out. And so one day he gets a hold of him, and he's like, would you like to pick up some money from me in Texas? And all you got to do is pick it up, and I'll give you 10%. So he went to pick up the 10 million. He picked it up, dropped it off at this location, and then he's like, we can't go in there because they're rival cartels. Anyways, this guy starts creating a relationship with this guy in Mexico, which is a cartel boss leader. They never mentioned what cartel or what name or who it was, but this relationship starts growing, and so he starts telling him, he's like, hey, would you becomes this guy, this American starts becoming his like his guy in the United States. And he tells him, he's like, hey, I need you to go to Australia. Would you be down? You'll make $1 million a day. But all you got to do is move my cocaine in Australia. And Australia is one of the hardest countries to get cocaine into. So he starts distributing, he starts finding connections in different countries to be able to move it in Italy. And he finds this guy. But the problem now he has is he has the cash, and he can't pull it out of Australia. So he figures out a way to gamble over there, get their chips, and then bring them back to Vegas and cash out. And so that's how he's moving money until the guy that's doing that for him loses almost $3 million in things. So he gets in deep shit with the cartel. They don't kill him. They tell him now he has to bring his own coke into Australia. And the way he does it is he starts buying wine bottles and making the cocaine to liquid, and then putting in the wine bottles, shipping it, and then making into a liquid, into a solid. Anyways, the point is, at some point, then he starts finding these connections that help him wash like his money, bring his money back to the United States. And then where I'm going with my story is, you talk about corruption with suits. Well, this is the I believe they said the DEA sending these guys as undercover agents and being his guys that bring the money back into the United States, like they're laundering the money into it. And this going on, he had to repay back the $3 million plus interest, I believe. So he starts bringing the money in and paying them their cut. So the DA's taking a cut on this drug money, but is also giving him the money to give to the drug dealer. And this goes on for 6 months. So I get the whole concept of trying to bring down an organization, but they're pumping money into the drug organization and still taking a cut. But at the end, the guy gets arrested, and the agents get arrested, and they're at a golf course, and they set everything up. And the guy does 10 years, and he comes out, and he does his protein ice cream. But during the time he's in there, the cartel boss, rewards him greatly because he never snitched him out. And so they had nothing on the guy. But he was supposed to do way more, but he gets out in 10 years. And the fact that the DA government still, they didn't get anything, but they pumped more money into the only person that they took down was this one guy. Yeah. And they tried to get all his friends to rat on him and everything, and they didn't have much besides the fact that he was laundering money because he never actually touched the product. Yeah. So it just makes it think like how much money they pumped in to think that they were going to bring down an organization, when in fact they just brought one guy that was distributing stuff over there.
I think they do that with guns too. Like they'll use weapons and try to, and they add guns to the whole thing.
And that's what I'm saying. Like how does that? I get the concept, but in this case, like it didn't really work.
Have you ever watched South Park? There's one where it's an undercover cop and he's pretending to be a prostitute or something like that. So he'll actually go down on dudes and stuff, and then afterwards, when he's done, he'll say "freeze," and arrest him. And
after he's done,
and the people he's always arresting are like, "What? Why didn't you do it before we, like you're a dude?" But yeah, it just reminds me of that sometimes,
Well, I bet it's kind of the same concept. They fucking do all this, and then you're kind of like, imagine just that part, and then you even have like the claims with. I saw this in Narcos, and that's where I saw it, but. When they were helping bring drugs from Colombia, and there's the DA involved. You're like, what about that? Like, the fuck? I'm like, so I feel like there's more to it than what we think, because we talk about our military force, and if we really wanted to wipe out a lot of the cartel head leaders, you're telling me there's no way to find them? There's no way we can get a hold of them? And so I'm like, doesn't make sense sometimes.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know. There's no way not to hide from someone. You know what I mean? Fuck, they got the chapel. And some say they turned him in so he could cover for the other guy.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, didn't they find like Saddam Hussein buried somewhere, or like he was hiding, and then Osama? So like, I think, I don't know. There's times where I'm like, I think if they want to find someone, they will. But then it's like the people are still looking for Biggie and Tupac's killers, so maybe not. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's
where's Tupac's killers at?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's tricky, and I'm at a point where the more I just look into stuff, the more I'm just like, man, what do I? And that's why sometimes I think just, you know, just be in my own world, worry about my own, stuff. And that might sound selfish, but it's like, I don't know if there's a whole lot I can do about all these. I get, sometimes I get caught up in the Charlie Kirk stuff, listening to some of the Candace Owens stuff, and just, people going back and forth, the whole Israel thing, like talk about people in suits with power. Like that's that's using religion and the promised land to manipulate, a lot of powerful people and countries, so I don't know, man. It's very, on one hand it's discouraging, and on the other hand it's just like, look around and just be grateful for what's within our reach and up close. Cause you really start to focus on, Gaza is another, situation in the world that's just like, damn. But then you probably can go to any continent, any country, and be like, damn, everybody's got their own messes. And sometimes it's like, everybody should just clean themselves up and not be so worried about, again, I don't know. And we'll see what happens with Venezuela, but it's definitely interesting. And obviously Mexico has their stuff that they gotta clean up too, but so does the US, man. Like, I don't know.
100%. I do believe that. Damn. You got me thinking now. Dang. Yeah. All the mess. Even our mayor campaign right now, it's starting to look a little messy. Like, people are just pulling out, this person's getting backed from the far right, and this person is getting backed by this person. I'm like, bro, like, it's a fucking mayor campaign. Like, we were talking about, if everybody was that worried about getting good candidates, why the fuck weren't we electing better candidates?
Yeah. And that's the tricky part, and I go back to, my development meeting and the mayor candidate in Blackfoot, people start questioning, like, are you giving this dude kickbacks? Are you, is your endorsement of this mayor, contingent on the approval of your development? And it's just like, what the hell? And it goes back to people not trusting the government, because, the reality for me and the future mayor of Blackfoot is, he used to coach soccer. He used to coach the Blackfoot girls back when I was in high school. So we'd play against them in the summer, and he was their coach. And now I coach some of his grandkids, and that's how I see him on the sidelines every once in a while. It's not like we're, whining and dining and talking all these secret handshakes in the background or promising money. However, like, I'm sure that's stuff that has happened in some instances. So now the water's tainted. Now even a clean deal can look dirty just based not off of what's happening. But, I don't know. I was reading some of the stuff with Jeff, and they were talking about like who's suing the city and who's giving them money. And even the Pocatello race is very similar. Like the police department just,
I saw that.
Endorsed Dahlquist and the Cates guy is just like, I think he was a cop or something like that. So it's interesting, man. And I think that's the thing with politics, is it just taints the water, taints opinions, and sometimes logic and practicality go out the window because it's such an emotionally charged thing,
no, 100%.
And it's funny because in Idaho Falls, we should be as passionate about, what's happening right now, and be as vocal and be as upset as we were for the presidential election.
Yeah.
But it's not the cool thing. It's not the trending thing, so you're not going to see a lot of the same people being loud and being active like they were in 2024, just because
There's
it's
definitely no protesting going to be going.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And it's the local stuff that's going to affect us more. Like we could be affected nationally, but like, and, I took a lot of heat, early on during the Trump stuff, but it's just like, do you want people deported? Do you want, it's like, no, I don't want any of that. Like what happened in Idaho and Wilder, like it sucks, like we don't want any of that. At the same time, like, man, that's not, it's going to affect me and my emotions and like my mood and like my damn, like, just watching it because you feel bad for people, but at the end of the day, the mayor that's, going to fix the roads in Blackfoot is probably going to affect my reality more, and I think sometimes just separating that reality in your head and in your heart with the reality that we're out here living in real life. Like we have friends that are here not legally and we love them and they do great things for the community. And it's just like, you just hope that doesn't happen to them,
Yeah.
But I think I've talked about the experience that happened here locally when he got pulled over without, documentation. And it was like, cop allowed him to call me. I was able to go pick him up, give him a ride home. It's just like, that's what you hope. But that's what's happening here. But it's not the same way for other people who have had family deported. So we're all just in our own perspectives,
Bless you, bless you. Yeah. It is definitely one of those situations that you're like, I hate like in the mayor, like the mayoral campaign right now is like people that's their, if when they get cornered, they resort to like pulling shit out like that. Like, oh well, so and so's backed by the far right. Like, what the fuck is the far right? And how do you even classify that? Like if that's your go-to, like that means instead of being like, this is what we bring to the table and this is what we believe in, no, like let's talk shit on the other party. Like I don't know, seen like I don't know if it's her daughter or granddaughter, God knows what, like the Lisa chick, just always like going on Facebook and just going at every comment that talks bad about her. Yeah. And I was like, bro, like this is what you guys are coming, like this is your campaign just to kind of contradict everybody that has an opposing opinion about you. Like, I'm like, damn, like this is definitely not.
I was reading this stuff on Jeff, some of the, that attorney that, I forget his name. People don't like him at all. He's a debt collections dude, but they do have ties to people that were the Freedom, I don't remember, Pact or whatever. So it's definitely interesting to kind of see, but because Lisa's not a Democrat, right?
I don't think they're claiming a party.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure.
So you're starting to see a divide, which honestly, I wish I would have seen that from the Democrats, because what happened with the Democrats is they were going pretty far left, and then before you knew it, like you started seeing the whole party go that way. With Republicans right now, which I think is one of the biggest reasons it's kind of fun to be on this side, is you're starting to see disagreements and infighting, and I think that's super important to do within your own party. And I've always said, like, hold your own party accountable. Like, don't just sit and point at the other side. But you're starting to see that now. And I think with Democrats, everything just kind of got slid under the table. And I'll be bullish on the idea that, like, Bernie should have been the candidate, not Hillary. But the support wasn't there for Bernie from, like, inside the Democratic, like, bureaucracy and what was built there, But Bernie would have won. He had Joe Rogan. Like, he had enough people that were in the middle that Bernie probably would have won. Now, do I agree with Bernie's policies? Not necessarily. Like the dude is getting funded by big pharma companies who have the most to gain if the government starts paying the bills instead of people. Yeah. So that's something that, sometimes gets slid, past. But and then I look at, Biden saying he was going to run instead of having the Democrats have like an actual Democratic race where people get to choose instead of the party. So, but it's almost like as things started going about gender and all these different things that were super, super far left, the entire party just kind of went with it. Where right now, I mean, there's Republicans that are pissed at where are the Epstein files at? Like there's infighting there, and I think it's so important to like check yourself and check your own house before you go to your neighbors and start saying, "Hey, this is what's going on." Because, and I think you're going to see that in the Republican Party. There are people that are like frustrated. Israel is a big thing. Are you familiar with that Nick Fuentes guy?
I've heard of him, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure what.
So, not my favorite human, right? But just because he's not my favorite human and I don't agree with everything he says, he's kind of leading the charge, and they're dumping the red MAGA hats, and they're now it's a blue hat that says America First. I think as Americans, that's not a bad thing to look at, because he's at the point where he's just like, Israel has too much influence over us, too much power. We give them too much money. They're Tucker Carlson saying like, this Israel isn't the same Israel from the Bible. And I think that was a conversation he had with Ted Cruz, and Ted's like, yeah, it is. But you're starting to see like, damn, there's a line of corruption that's coming from that area, and we're allowing these atrocities to happen just because, of the influence coming from that side. So we're in a unique time. I think there's a lot at stake over the next few years, but it's going to be interesting to see the evolution. Like, I still don't know what the Democrats are doing. Like, the Democrats were celebrating, like, oh, Gavin Newsom, he was in Houston. Look at how many people voted. It's like, well, yeah, like 70% of people in Houston voted for Kamala Harris so like, what's the big deal? Oh, the one guy in New York won the mayor race. Yeah, you guys had a Democrat win the mayor race in a city that was 70-something% for Kamala. Like, that's not, I don't know if Democrats are gaining ground, but I don't know, man. It's an interesting political landscape right now, but I think the infighting between parties is necessary, because we need to stop going too far left, too far right, and remember that like our goal as Republicans should be to try to get some Democrats to come in and vote for us, but we have completely abandoned that mindset,
Yeah.
Like, can we meet in the middle? Can we agree on some things? What can we agree on? And, can we move forward? And I think that's how it is probably in most countries, but man, in America, and a lot of times it's like, man, is this just a distraction from something else that's happening?
Yeah, they got something else going on, and we're all over here worrying about why, what's her name? The fuck, why did I just think of two different presidents? Why the president's doing other things like cover up. We're just living in a simulation. That's what I'm thinking. My head hurts just thinking about. Dude, this is a lot of shit's going on, man. I don't know if you noticed. Like right now, it's usually like end of year, beginning of year. A lot of shit goes on, and then it kind of like mellows until the summer. Like everybody's coasting through the summer, and then again when it starts picking up. Like I just, fuck, man. I think there's a lot of noise. But like you said, I like what you said. It's like sometimes it sounds selfish, but focus on yourself. And right now, like I personally, for the mayor campaign, I don't know. I don't know who's the best candidate. Do we take the chances on Jeff and see what the fuck he can do, or do we do just support Lisa because she has? I'm not against. I don't want to say I'm against either or. I don't think they're the best that we could have given. Like, I feel deep down that we could have given three better candidates. I think that's my point of view, and I don't even know who I'm going to vote for right now, to be honest. Like I at the beginning I was like, yeah, let's go for Team Lisa, but then kind of just seeing like how her campaign's working, what they're doing, I'm like, But then I look at Jeff's stuff and I'm like, I don't know either. Like, like at this point it's one of those sad things, and I feel like a lot of people feel through like I don't really care, but we should care, Yeah. And so that's where I'm like, it is actually like making me think, who the fuck am I gonna go vote for now?
Yeah. I'm super curious. If more people or less people are going to show up for this runoff, because Lisa needs more people to show up. Yeah. With Jeff, I mean, he already had more votes than she did. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm an Idaho spud, but it's just like, let the person that's been here that at least understands the city. Does that mean they have all the answers right and things have been perfect? No, but I think the biggest thing in Idaho that we have to accept is that we're going to continue to grow,
Mm-hmm.
and it's eventually priced out of paradise. There's a lot of people that are priced out of paradise, right? And you hear that from Hawaiians that were locals that eventually had to move because, like, damn, we can't even afford to buy houses in our own homeland, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're starting to see that with Idaho, but it's just such a, I mean, over 60% of Idaho is federal land. So it's big, but you can't build or live in there, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes I think you forget, you go outside and just look around you and just like, damn, like we got a big ass river right across the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is a beautiful area. So there's going to be growth, and a lot of times cities can't plan properly. Is there missteps? Yeah, but you can't fully plan, and I think it would have been difficult to plan what was going to happen to Idaho during COVID.
Yeah.
But now it's like, here we are, and this is what we got to do. And people
Yeah.
forget, like, the largest generations alive, millennials and baby boomers, they're still in the real estate market.
Mm-hmm.
And in Idaho, the need for housing happens at a younger age because,
Yeah.
I mean, how old were you when you got married?
23.
23. So by that point, you need a place for you and your wife, and then have a baby now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you became a dad?
25.
25. That's, I mean, you compare that to, like, I don't know, other states.
Yeah.
That's pretty young.
Yeah.
You know?
I like how you said, like, the pricing out. I remember the price of my home was the same price that you could get for a house up in the hill back when my parents bought a house.
Yeah.
I mean, for them, brand new house was 200,000, you know, and for them it was a shitload of money, you know,
Yeah.
like an insane amount. And we talk about the story. My dad bought his house for 130,000, and then he later on sold it for 400. 11 years later, and then he moved into a $500,000 home, but with the price of when his initial investment was probably just half of what the house was worth.
Yeah.
So, like, talk about getting priced out. My father would never be able to afford a $500,000 house right now if he had to start from zero.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of like one of those things is like, yeah, it's sad that seeing it happen, because I know someone, like, for example, in our lawn care business, we mow for some elderly people. And we get it. They have a fixed income, but their what's called expenses keep going up, but their income doesn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's very scary. And I want to refer one last time to the Yellowstone. You see it. Why didn't John Dutton want to sell his land? Because he saw it that he didn't want to. But unfortunately, we don't have John Duttons here, and it's all fictional. And we're kind of fucked because we are the second biggest city in Idaho.
Yeah.
Unless you count. Anyways, but I went to Boise this weekend, and just how clusterfuck the whole thing is.
Oh,
you know, like, you're like, damn, this is what Idaho Falls can look like. Just a mess of everything.
Yeah, and we're surrounded by, you know, was it that people kept saying a couple of years ago, like, the people from Jackson are moving to Swan Valley.
Yeah.
The people from Swan Valley are moving to Idaho Falls. Yeah. You know, no one's moving to Blackfoot. But we'll change that.
They skip it.
But
And go
we're gonna have water in our Jensen's Grove now. But no, it's just interesting to kind of see what's happening. I remember people from Boise were moving to Twin, you know, because, like, I can't buy in Boise anymore. I'd rather commute. People were, I mean,
and Twin's getting massive too.
Yeah, and I think about, like, you know, you're talking about brand new homes. I remember when I was selling brand new homes in Blackfoot for $155,000. That same home is now $550,000. You know what I mean? People were building 3,000, 4,000 square foot homes with basements because you could. Now it's like, I'm just gonna build
1,500 square foot, please.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. Rooms are small, so things are changing. But at the end of the day, like, builders adapt, cities will adapt. You know, I met with a developer here at our office a couple weeks ago that they're building 600 doors here at Snake River Landing. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just a lot of expectation of more growth over the next 5 to 10 years, and it's going to happen whether we want it to happen or not. and we just got to be ready for it and get ahead of it. You know, there's opportunities in growth constantly. So, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, man.
We'll see what we'll see what. We'll keep you updated next week and see what's going on with the Venezuela thing. Did we hit the nuclear button or did we not? Remember, Venezuela doesn't have any nuclear weapons allegedly.
Yeah.
So
it's wild. You think we're just being bullies at that point, or do you think?
I think it's hard. It's really hard to. I'm gonna dig into it a little bit better. I want to understand why the concept. It does talk about the counterattack for terrorism for the drug trafficking, and it also talks about. It doesn't specifically say the thing that I just read that we're going for the oil, but Venezuela is a very rich in crude oil and resource country. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's interesting.
But I do want to know why Venezuela. Out of all the countries in the middle, why them? So,
they're claiming narco terrorism is what they're saying. You know.
Yeah. So,
and that's the one thing. And I don't remember what other country they did it to, but it's like once they declare something, then it allows them to reach their hands a little bit further into other people's cookie jars. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think some of the problems that some people have is that sometimes the U.S. is policing the world, and it's just like, I don't know if that's our job, you know?
Do you think in that perspective, I like that you brought that up, if we don't police it, someone else will?
Yes and no. You know, I think they try, but also like, I think sometimes it's that causes all these, you know, butting heads with all these countries. Because at the end of the day, man, like I was watching, I think it was on YouTube or something, just about like, or maybe it was Joe Rogan, about like all these different like extraterrestrial sightings, and that they're like, no one's talking about that, by the way. Like, Avengers was Star Wars, some of the biggest movies that ever come out have to do with aliens and people coming to our world, right? Like, there's been thousands of verified sightings of unidentified aircraft by the U.S. military, by the Navy, and no one's talking about it, right? And I look at all of these conflicts with borders and stuff, and it's just like, yo, like if you're my neighbor, we could prosper together, right? Like, let's all just work together. Let's quit killing each other. Let's do business with each other, make money. Like, I actually don't mind the tariff idea, but it's got to be like, reciprocated, right? Like, hey, if I'm gonna charge you 30% for sending this here, you can charge me 30% if you need for sending this here. I'm doing this because I want the jobs to stay here, and eventually we want to make our own stuff here. But in the meantime, let's work together, because all it takes is one big ass. What is that 3-eye atlas thing that's flying? Have you read about that? People are saying it's meteor. People are saying that's not flying like one. They think it's an artificial aircraft. It's like all it takes is one world disaster to remind us that we're just fucking human. And I think it's so important to just remember that. Like, sometimes we dehumanize people, right? And yeah, I think we just got to get back to remembering that we're humans, and that we got to care for and work together, because it's sad to see
we're all
some
in
of
this
stuff
together.
Yeah. I think this is where we sing that Beatles Imagine song. You know what I'm talking about?
I only knew Yellow Submarine.
Oh, damn. Really?
We all live in the yellow submarine.
You need to, man, what's the movie called? It's a Beatles one where, like, the guy gets in a car accident or something, but when he wakes up, the Beatles don't exist. Never existed. But he remembers all their songs. So he starts to, like, write them, and he's having this like competition with Ed Sheeran singing, and who can write a song, Sheeran, yeah, whatever, and he's doing all the Beatles songs, right? So he just becomes this mega hit. But then there's other people in the world who like remember
the Beatles.
Yeah, man. I'm
gonna have to look it up. I like that. I like movies like that, because I've had dreams like that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if I could go back in time. I always thought of this with Fuerza Regida.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of them, but I was like, imagine if I could have thought about their next biggest hit. And when I saw them in concert, I'd be like, hey, bro, here's your, not me singing, but like, here's your next hit, bro.
Yeah.
Like just write the songs for them that are already huge hits now and just give it to them. But then you think about like, what if I fuck up the timing?
Yeah.
Like everything is timed so right that like I wonder if a song hit because it was released at the right time.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, that's why I think I love this movie.
If there was an artist that you woke up one day and they didn't exist, never existed in the world, but you knew they did, and you knew all their songs, and you basically could just make them and everybody would think they were yours, who would it be?
Oh, okay, so my first go-to would be Vicente Fernandez, but I feel like it would fuck everybody's life, like from the movies. So then my second one would be someone like Johann Sebastian.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like I love his shit. Like,
yeah.
But I feel like I would be doing a disservice to everybody because they're like icons in the fucking. But those would be to my two.
Yeah.
I would pick Vicente Fernandez first because like, bro, like I also got him to sing in concert once when I was younger. The fucker would sing and he would put down his mic and you could still hear like the tremble of his voice. Like,
yeah.
The man still had it in him and he was old. Like,
yeah.
So I'm like, people like him, man, like I feel like we've already forgotten about him, you know?
Yeah.
And like everybody's grown up listening to some of his songs. Had to, you know? So I think he would be my first pick, but I would feel bad for taking that away from people.
Yeah.
So I'd probably pick Johann Sebastian next.
Johann Sebastian. I
What
like that. Damn. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I mean, the Beatles wouldn't be a bad one just because I like a lot of their. Because I like a lot of their.
Yellow Submarine, where the fuck, man? Like that's my jam.
Yeah. Man, Elvis. Maybe some. I don't know, man. It's tricky to think. I'd probably do something like country, like give me Tim McGraw or Brooks and Dunn or something.
You
like
can
that.
take Jelly Roll with you.
Jelly Roll. I do.
Jelly Roll would be popping, man.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I like his music, man. It's been.
Me too.
He's got a cool story. I like it a lot. I think someone that can redeem themselves and find God and turn their lives around and help others turn their lives
Bro,
around.
You see how much weight he's lost to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a vlog with him because he owns a bar in what's that town in Tennessee?
Memphis.
No, the
Nashville. Yeah.
He has a bar in Nashville, and like just him like bringing people on and letting them like sing their stuff.
Yeah.
Like I like love the guy.
It's cool to see him lose that way. That's one thing that like I've been kind of reading about is like I got kind of sad the other day, but I was like kind of reading about like just cancers and stuff, you know, and like sugar fuels cancer growth, but so does glutamine, which is in whey protein in chicken. And it's just like if you're, you know, just the stuff that we're eating is fueling like our diets or like, so that's why I've been trying to fast and get into ketosis, you know, because that can kill, you know, prevent the growth of stuff. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. So it's cool to see someone like him who was as big as him do the work. And for me, like even for you, man, it was cool to see you lose, you know, the weight that you were losing. And now that I turned 40 in less than a month. And my mortality is starting to sink in. My other sister that's here, she might be sick. So it's just like, it sucks to like, and knowing that like, hey, a lot of this is just self-inflicted, how we eat, how we take care of ourselves. So I just want to put myself in a spot where hopefully I can be 80 years old, you know? Yeah. And it starts with little decisions that we make on a daily basis, you know?
No more tacos.
Damn, I don't know about that. I think tacos, I think are healthy. You just gotta, no chicken tacos.
No chicken?
So,
you can have chicken?
What?
You said no chicken?
Yeah, it's got a lot of glutamine, and glutamine can help. Glutamine will do, sugar and glutamine are what's going to give cancer cells and tumors more growth and spreading.
Well,
it's fuel.
The only thing I eat is chicken.
Yeah, so fish, red meat. But you never know. Like I swear, several years ago, it was like red meat's bad. It's gonna give you cancer. So you don't know. But
I'm just gonna thug it out.
Yeah.
Maybe the studies come out. Just kidding, guys. Everybody that stopped eating chicken, it was actually good for you.
Yeah, it's like damn. It's like eggs. Eggs were bad for you for a while.
Yeah,
so people would take the big al cholesterol.
Yeah, that's why Cheerios came in. Adios al cholesterol. Oh, some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, well, we'll keep you guys updated on what's going on. I think we'll just see there's a lot of shit going on, and we'll keep anticipating the mayoral candidates again. See what the fuck's going on. I bet they'd want to talk to us, but
yeah, maybe we'll have one on the show.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
All right, well, that's all I got for today.
Cool. Well, thanks for carrying. That was a good conversation, man. That's some big stuff happening around the world. So
yeah, sorry it was just it was kind of just bullet points, and we didn't hit all the facts. But I definitely next time we'll hit it more polished.
Sure. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and take care.
See you guys.
Give it to me.